Hello and a very warm welcome here to the Parker booth at Bauma 2025. Parker is proud to be the global leader in motion and control technologies. Here at Bauma, the motto of the booth is technology inside that moves your world. And Parker is here at Bauma in order to fulfill your wildest engineering dreams with rock-solid solutions for the mobile machinery and off-road applications. Here at the Bauma Talks, we've got experts gathered from across the globe, Parker experts from the US, from Germany, and from further afield. And they're here to share their insights on the top 4 themes that we see driving the industry. And those themes are digitalization, electrification, mobile hydraulics, and clean tech. For our next talk, we're going to focus on keeping things cool with the right thermal management for battery-powered systems. And it's my pleasure to introduce our trio of experts who, incredibly, between them have, I think, over a century of experience. So first up, Mr. Sealing Solutions, as I'd like to say for this talk. He's a newbie at Bauma and excited to apply his vast knowledge from the automotive industry now to the off-road sector. At Parker, he is a global expert for clean tech in the engineering materials group, where he's focused on sealing solutions for just about everything you can think of. Very warm welcome, Dr. Stefan Reichle.
Thank you.
And next, Mr. Connector. I'll go in that order, as I think that's how it works. You have 21 years of experience in fluid connection with a broad knowledge of onboard connection technology. You manage market development at Parker's high-pressure connectors European division. And I've heard you say Parker is as flexible as a rubber tube. We've got ready with every technology. Welcome, Fabian Brücker.
Thank you.
And completing our trio is Mr. Cool.
Yeah.
Division Market Manager at Parker's Cylinder, Accumulator and Cooler Division.
Perfect.
And he will be sharing his expertise on thermal management, components and systems with us. You are passionate about driving digitalization and electrification for your customers. Fantastic to have you here, Andreas Lengnowski. Herzlich willkommen.
Dankeschön.
So let's dive into the theme. Andreas, why is thermal management so important?
Thermal management, it's the key to get electrification done. Every electric components have the reduction or this kind of energy transforming inside the components, and that's create heat. And the heat need to be out of this system to be efficient and reliable. And that's why it's so important that all the things works together, from the sealing what is inside the battery system, inside the motor, inside the inverter, need to transform the energy losses to the coolant. And we need connectors what transport the energy to my coolers, and the cooler need to be efficient that the whole power consumption go down.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate though. What if I say thermal management? Come on, that's completely overrated. What could possibly go wrong?
It's a good argument, but when the components are too hot, the performance go down, or it's burn, or it's no function anymore there. So that means it's need in the right condition. And I think the sealing and the filler what come here, it's so important to transport the energy from the electronic components what produce the heat to, again, the coolant.
Okay, so loss of energy, is that one of the things that can go wrong?
The losses cannot go wrong. It will be there. But we need to take care that it's not create any trouble in the system. And that's need to be fast and accurate. That's the components are every time in the sweet spot of the temperature. And for this, we need to complete components inside the circle.
Yes. Okay. If we are not doing that, we are talking about elements. In case of a battery, we are talking about a high capacity element. That means there's a lot of energy inside the system. Yeah. And if we are not keep that in the right shape, in the right temperature window, one of the smaller issues what you can get that you lose power or the efficiency of your battery. But the most worst case what can happen is that the system is get overheated. And in a case of an overheating system, You can have a start of a battery cell which starts to burn, or if that not just stop at one cell, that means all the other cells can also start to burn. Then you have a thermal propagation of your entire battery system, and your entire battery system will explode in a few seconds.
Okay.
And nobody wants to sit on a battery or behind a battery system, but it will explode.
Okay, so the dangers are clear. Anything else that you'd like to add? What could go wrong if I don't get thermal management right?
Yeah, I think my colleagues mentioned it very clearly. So we really have to make sure that all the components work perfectly together as a system, which is actually the key strengths of Parker, to combine different technologies into complete systems. Andreas mentioned one goal is a reduction of energy losses for sure, yes. And one overall goal is for sure to keep the whole system safe.
Okay, I know you work together very well. We'll get to that in the next, in a little bit. But first of all, give us an overview of the current market trends, perhaps, Stefan, starting with you, observing how they impact overall thermal management of battery-operated systems.
Yes, as already mentioned, we are talking about electrifications, and there's ongoing trend to the electrification. That means in the future we have more and more the need for large batteries or batteries with a high capacity. In that case, we need improved thermal management solution just to keep the batteries in a good shape and to control the high the high power density inside the system. So for that reason, we have the need for solutions where we can connect the thermal management system into the components of the batteries to keep the battery system on the right temperature. As we are talking about larger batteries, that means larger housings. Here we are facing larger tolerances. So that means the sealing of the connectors, the feed-throughs to connect the thermal management system to the battery components. It's quite hard because we have to seal that feed-throughs and connectors against the environment to avoid that we have any leakage between the environment and the battery housing. Yep. And that is not an easy deal because we are talking about larger tolerances. A standard sealing solution can cover tolerances of 0.1 or 0.2 millimeters. That is not much. In the case of larger batteries, we are talking about 0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter or more millimeters. Here we have the need for special sealing solutions which can deal with that large tolerances. Here we are talking about special tolerance compensating seals like our warp seals. That is a very important point. And also, we have the need for long-lasting materials to ensure that the thermal management system will be without leakage over a long lifetime of the entire battery system.
And as far as those materials are concerned, is there anything like groundbreakingly new at the moment?
We have some special materials which are showing really, really good improvements to that existing material what we had in the past. So we were able to double the lifetime to the existing materials with our new materials. So there's a good trend for new materials what we can use in that kind of application.
And anything that you can name?
Yes, that is our compound E9330. It's an EPTM compound. Everybody knows it, I think.
I don't have a picture coming to mind right now, but okay, I get the gist, right. Andreas, you've been to Bauma so many times. What do you see this year as a market trend?
I would say we going now in the industrialization. So that's mean the first customer and the first customers have really understand that there is a need to change to carbon reduction machines, and this is battery driven, hybrid driven or hydrogen driven. So, but I will come to this point here. When not the sealing works in the battery with the distances and not the sealings in the connector work properly, it's join air my cooler. So the thermal management get less efficiency. It's come coolant out, what is maybe critical in the environmental. So that's mean with these challenges, what explained here with the bigger size of battery, one come on top. The density of the battery will increase. The weight maybe will increase when we go from liquid electrolysis to a powder one. So that means it's a lot of going on trends to optimize the efficiency and the density of batteries. And this challenge the sealing, that challenge the connectors, and of course the cooler. We have the QDC flat fit build 850, why we need on the smaller space the same cooling power like a big one. And that's driven. And then the competence from us and the challenge from the market is every time space.
Right.
Every time the people come, yes, I need this power,
Yeah.
I need this time to work, but this is the space.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no space for bending anything. The hoses
Yes.
need to be extremely flexible. The ceiling need to be compensated a lot. And the cooler have to do a lot of work on a small space.
Okay.
So that's what we can do together.
Yep.
Maybe this is a different to the market. And we answered this unmet needs. So that's mean the trend is that we come on the journey with the customer and can help him in our modular and open space discussion to fit and bring a new product or a product together what's fit to the application.
Okay, thank you, Fabian. What about from the connector side?
Yeah, I just
Anything
wanted to jump
you'd like
in
to add?
that discussion as well. So, looking at fluid connectors, I mean, it took us quite a long way to come from robust, rigid, high pressure, hydraulic connectors to the real needs of battery electric driven vehicles. So you have to adjust your products accordingly. Yeah, lightweight, compact routing, full flow. Minimized pressure drops because, as we just said, we want to minimize energy losses. We want to increase efficiency. So batteries, they also need to live longer, means we have to supply durable products. So when you think about hoses, for instance, we have now a special thermoplastic cover, which is very resistant against abrasion. Yeah, so we don't have any rubber hoses being used here. We have lightweight couplers, for instance, made of aluminum with a minimized pressure drop, no spillage for sure because of flat-faced valves. So we actually contribute with our products to the success of the whole system.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that Parker is known for is the solutions that they offer. Tell me a little bit more about how you collaborate at Parker between your individual specializations.
Yeah, collaboration is extremely important for Parker. As we said, we are from various different technologies. But only as one team we can design and supply at the end of the day the best fit to our customers. So it typically starts not with just one product group, but with an interaction in between us, that we talk to each other, that we talk about the challenges. He just mentioned it, the main constraint is space. So how to adapt our technologies and solutions into a very limited space. So that's one key challenge that we are facing at the moment.
And what helps that collaboration? Why is Parker particularly good in that?
I think we have a method for it. So there's a method for the finding the voice of the customer. So we as market manager are trained to get voice from the customer, listen to customers' unmet needs, and understand how important these unmet needs are for his application and how satisfied he is with the solution he have today. And then we build other method, bring people together from different divisions, sit together and say, this is the challenge, this is the unmet need of the customer, this is a part what you can do, this is a part what you can do, and how can we bring this together? When you see the ECH hose there and this one, this is a collaboration. We say we have to avoid brass. We have to avoid anything what's bring cathodic corrosion in place.
Yep.
So we talk about how can we bring a filler material what's bring the heat exactly faster to the coolant. And we look what is the space we get mostly and what can we do to it. And how can you bring your connector on the port correctly with the right sealings. So that's what we're doing. We listen, we look what is the most important part, and then we decide the team what's it together and bring a solution on this.
Okay, what about you, Stefan? You've come from the automotive sector. How do you find this collaboration now for off-road applications in thermal management?
I think that is quite similar what we are also doing in the automotive world. Here in that case, it's a little bit different because the background is completely different from my perspective, because the machines are completely different, a complete different size, different requirements. more harsh conditions, rougher conditions. We are talking about more dirt. We are talking about vibration. That's a lot of things what you have to consider if you are doing new design or new solutions for that kind of application. So that means one-to-one copy is not possible. You have to find probably new solutions, or you have to adjust existing solutions that it fit into that requirements of that application.
Okay, let's be bold now and talk about failures.
Uh-oh.
I mean, we say the best lessons learned are from failures, right? What can be learned from lessons can be learned from past failures in thermal management of electric batteries in mobile machinery? Who would like to start? Of course, it was a different department, right, Fabian?
Exactly. It's not me, it's not us. No, I mean, for sure, as I said, you start with something and then you start to improve. Yeah.
Yep.
So looking at our products, talking about connectors, for instance, if you have the right hose, it doesn't mean that you have the right connector to the port. So we have to have, like the VDA adapters, a full flow connector actually as well here, made of aluminum if needed. Yeah, lightweight is very important. We are talking mobile machines. So the adjustment of components to the needs of the market was surely a lesson that we learned as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's, I can only say that's true. And we, again, need to understand why maybe customer use material. And then we explain maybe it could be better to do this. Why the reason is maybe you get a coating inside your cooler. The coating is an isolator, and the isolator reduce your efficiency, and you need more power from the fan and from the pump. So that's mean it is a journey that we maybe understand our components very deep, and then explain how the principle works. And then the customer say, okay, it's really understandable. I change my architecture.
Right.
So that's mean this is a journey. Mm-hmm. No one knows everything, and it's really a kind of step-by-step learning. Maybe we look in our specification clearly a little bit in the future, what's come, why this is our job. When we reacted only on the current state, we need to react on what's come in a year or late or in the future. So that's what we are doing, and that's what we're learning. It is not to look to today, it's look to do what is in the next years to do. So what kind of components we need then? Mm-hmm. Why when we come too late, there's no solution, and the customer go again in our other area and maybe is guiding to a problem. So that's, from my point of view, what we should do. And that's what we learn, that we have to do this.
Anything that you can add to that, Stefan?
Yes, I will also add, don't go with standard solution or only standard solutions.
Yeah.
You can go with standard solution, yes, of course. But we have the need to reduce the size, the space, the weight of the system. You can go with a standard solution. It will work, probably. But if you want to reduce your system to the maximum what is possible, then you have to work with tailor-fit solutions. That means materials which fit 100% to your medias inside the system, to that requirements what you have in the systems, and also for the design. With the right design, you can reduce the size of your assembly rooms, you can reduce the size of your lid, of your housing, of your cover what is needed, of the connectors, of your feed-throughs, of the entire system. But tailor-fit is the solution for the future.
Okay, thanks for that tip. So one final question. Are there any projects that you think were particularly successful that you can share here today without naming a customer where you said, that's where we got it right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of good examples for sure. As you rightly said, we will not share any names here, but recently we just equipped an autonomous vehicle actually carrying people from A to B with a complete Parker solution for thermal management through a perfect collaboration of different divisions, I have to say. So that was, or still is, a masterpiece of success, and it proves what we just said and explained. Yeah. So, you want to add something? Yep.
No, that's a good success there.
Exactly.
Why we really go from small pieces to the full system. So we go deeper and deeper inside, and we support and the division support, other division support. So we collaborate really, and bring this customer bring a complete new product on the market, very successful. And when I look from my project, I think we're going from the EPTO market, where we started with a kind of, we don't need a cooling system where we connect directly to the truck cooling. And now it's come up when the power of the EPTO is higher, then it's better to take it on a separate cooling, what is isolated from the main cooling of the truck. And we have a good answer for it, why we bring it in a very small space. Or when you go to an excavator or a wheel loader, there's no space, and we bring it on the size what's fit exactly behind the battery. And thanks to the flexible hose on the plastic one and the sealing and all the stuff, it's fit. And the customer happy to have a space enough for the performance he need.
Exactly.
Okay. And any projects that you're particularly excited about?
Yes, that was a project where we are talking about the piping of the cooling, of the thermal management system with the cooling media, to bring the cooling media inside the battery. And they had the issue, as I already spoke about it, a big housing with large tolerances. And to create that tolerance, what they have needed to do that with their standard process, they would create a lot of costs, because they need very, very precise machining of that housing. And that was not possible. So for that reason, we did a tolerance compensating seal. It was easy to compensate the 1-2 millimeter misalignments what they had in their production, to bring in the piping into the housing, to connect the cooling of the thermal management system with the cooling media. And it was a quite simple solution. Just a part which cost probably $1 or €1, was saving cost of $10 to $20.
Fantastic. Thank you for these wonderful examples. I'll open the questions to the floor. Have we got any questions here from the gentleman in the front row?
You have
Microphone. Thank you.
when you have a cooler in a construction machinery and there is a very low space available, and you maybe also have to service a cooler. So is there a solution from Parker that answers low space claim and the opportunity to clean the system? You need a lot of air. How can you address this issue?
I can answer very quick. We have the opportunity in our design that we have a door. We can open the door, then you have direct access to the heat exchangers. You can clean the air fins with air or with water. And we have a reverse fan. So that means when you want to do it in a process, then you only can go on the other signal, on the CAN bus or on the PWM signal, and the fan turn the opposite from suctions to blowing. It is not a full performances, but maybe enough to bring the dust out of the air fins.
Thank you for your question. So service and maintenance, also no problem.
No problem.
Okay.
We listen carefully to the customer.
Just a challenge, no problem.
Any further questions from the audience members? Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Your main area here at the booth is the electrification. Is that right? The electrification
And
area
digitalization.
and the digitalization. Is that where we can find all of you?
Yeah,
Yes.
but in addition, we are still talking mobile hydraulics as well.
As
When we
well.
talk fluid connectors, sure. So we didn't say bye-bye to this market right now.
Right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your knowledge. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andreas, Stefan, and Fabian. Thanks.